The package arrived on a Tuesday. Wrapped in plain brown paper, no return address, just her name scrawled across the front in thick black marker. Sarah found it on her doorstep, a silent sentinel of the unknown. Inside, nestled in packing peanuts, was a dusty VHS tape. A faded piece of masking tape held a single word: watch. Sarah felt a knot of apprehension tighten in her stomach. Despite her unease, curiosity gnawed at her. She hadn't owned a VCR in years. That night, unable to resist the allure of the unknown, Sarah dug out her old VCR. The machine whirred to life, a mechanical groan echoing in the silence of her apartment. She pushed the tape in, the familiar click a harbinger of the horrors to come. As the static dissolved into a grainy image, Sarah settled into the darkness. Her heart pounded with a mixture of anticipation and dread. Little did she know, this tape held a horror far more profound than any childhood nightmare. The image flickered on the screen. A child's bedroom, dimly lit and eerily still. Toys lay scattered across the floor, frozen in time. A chill went down Sarah's spine. The room felt cold, lifeless. Then the girl came into view. She was young, no more than 10, with long dark hair framing a pale, heart-shaped face. She sat on the edge of the bed, her back ramrod straight. Her eyes were fixed on the camera, wide and unblinking. A shiver ran down Sarah's spine. The girl's gaze was intense, unnerving. Sarah tried to shake off the feeling of unease. It was just a home video, she told herself. Yet she couldn't shake the feeling that something was deeply, terribly wrong. The girl in the video didn't speak. She simply stared, her unblinking gaze burning into the camera, into Sarah. Sarah finally forced herself to look away. She ejected the tape, her hands trembling slightly. The silence in the room was deafening, punctuated by the hum of the television. She tried to rationalize her fear. It was just a video, just an image. But the girl's eyes, those wide, unblinking eyes, stayed with her. They were burned into her mind. Sarah saw them everywhere she looked, in the reflection of the window, in the shadows cast by passing cars. She tried to sleep, but the girl's face haunted her dreams. The image followed her into the daylight. She saw the girl's eyes in the faces of strangers on the street. She felt a constant gnawing unease, a prickling sensation on the back of her neck. The world seemed to warp around the girl's unwavering gaze. The once mundane details of her life took on a sinister quality. Sarah tried to tell herself it was all in her head. She was just tired, stressed. She needed a vacation, a change of scenery. But deep down, a seed of doubt had been planted. She couldn't shake the feeling that the girl was real, that she was somehow connected to the tape. Desperate for answers, Sarah tried to find out where the tape had come from. She searched online for any mention of the girl or the room from the video. She even visited a few local pawn shops and antique stores, hoping to find someone who recognized the tape or the girl. Her search proved fruitless, yielding nothing but dead ends. The lack of answers only fueled her paranoia. The girl in the video had become an obsession. Sarah couldn't eat, couldn't sleep. The girl's presence loomed over Sarah, a spectre of fear that refused to be ignored. Days turned into sleepless nights. The boundary between reality and nightmare blurred. The girl's unblinking eyes were everywhere. Sarah felt her grip on sanity slipping. She tried to distract herself, to lose herself in work, in movies. But the girl's gaze pierced through every attempt at normalcy. The image was seared into her mind, an unwelcome passenger in her every waking thought. The fear had become a physical sensation, a cold hand gripping her heart. She was trapped, ensnared in a web of terror, spun from the threads of the unknown. The girl in the video had become her jailer, her tormentor. The line between reality and hallucination dissolved. She began to see the girl in the periphery of her vision, a fleeting shadow that vanished when she turned to face it. Desperation clawed at Sarah. She had to get rid of the tape. She carried it to the trash, her hand hovering over the bin, but the fear held her back. It whispered that discarding the tape wouldn't be enough. The girl was already inside her head. She tried to break the tape, to smash it into a million pieces, but the plastic seemed to resist her every effort. She even tried to burn it, but the flames danced around the cassette. The tape remained intact, a mocking symbol of her growing madness. Each failed attempt pushed her further into the abyss. The girl in the video seemed to grow stronger with every passing moment. Hope dwindled, replaced by a bone-chilling certainty that she would never escape the girl's haunting gaze. Exhausted, defeated, Sarah retreated to her apartment. Sleep became impossible. Every time she closed her eyes, she saw the girl's unblinking gaze. Her apartment, once a sanctuary, became a prison of her own terror. The walls seemed to close in, the air growing thick and heavy with dread. Her reflection in the mirror became a stranger. Her eyes, once bright and full of life, were now vacant and haunted. She barely recognized the haggard, broken reflection staring back at her. The world outside her apartment held no appeal. Faces blurred into grotesque masks of indifference. She was adrift in a sea of unknowing faces, alone in her torment. The girl's presence was a suffocating weight, dragging her down into the depths of madness. Her thoughts became disjointed, her words a jumbled mess. She lost track of time, of days, of reality itself. The phone rang, unanswered. Friends called, concerned. Their voices sounded distant, distorted, like echoes from another world. She couldn't bring herself to answer, to speak. The girl's presence was a barrier, isolating her from the world outside. Her apartment became a reflection of her fracturing psyche. Dishes piled high, clothes strewn about. She was a prisoner in her own home, her captor, the unseen terror that haunted her every waking moment. Whispers followed her, slithering from the shadows. She saw fleeting glimpses of the girl in the corner of her eye. Even in the darkness, there was no escape. Then, one day, the silence came, the whispers ceased. The fleeting glimpses of the girl vanished. Sarah was left in a state of unnerving calm. The fear, however, remained, a cold knot in the pit of her stomach. She knew with a chilling certainty that this was not the end. The tape remained untouched on her coffee table. It seemed to pulsate with a malevolent energy. She couldn't bring herself to touch it, to destroy it. It was a part of her now, inextricably linked to her fate. The world outside continued as if nothing had happened. But for Sarah, everything had changed. She was forever altered, marked by the experience. The girl's unblinking gaze had become a part of her, a haunting reminder of the fragility of her own sanity. They found her days later. The police, alerted by concerned neighbours, broke down the door to find Sarah sitting on the floor, her back against the wall. Her eyes were wide, unblinking, staring straight ahead. She didn't speak. She didn't react. She was a shell, a hollow vessel, emptied of everything that made her human. The television was on, the static filling the room with its white noise. The VCR sat beneath it, the tape ejected, as if waiting to be played again. The apartment was silent, save for the hum of the television. Some say the girl in the video was a ghost, a vengeful spirit seeking an outlet for her pain. Others whispered of curses, of ancient evils lurking in the mundane. The truth, whatever it may be, remained locked away in the unblinking gaze of the girl on the tape.